Welcome, everyone, to the Aging and Spirituality podcast, where we inspire women over 60 to live productive and fulfilled lives. And today, we're going to be delving into creating sacred space
Hmm.
and the profound journey of embracing what I call feminine freedom. And I'll explain more about that. I really believe that the path to world peace lies in each individual growing into their own authentic self by understanding the spiritual realm and by living at a higher level of consciousness. And what that does is it allows us to live authentically. And I know that's a word that gets bandied about a lot, but you better understand it as you understand it better. I don't mean that as a you have to. I mean that you'll get to understand it better as you learn more about connecting to your inner self. And when you can do that, be authentic, be who you really are. It's going to inspire the collective to live more harmoniously. And that's my picture, my vision for how world peace can really happen. So today we're going to discuss why divine feminine is so important right now in that picture and how to connect more deeply with our sacred self. So why is divine feminine work so important right now? I believe it's about our individual spiritual paths and the growth that happens on those journeys. The path to feminine freedom really requires us to release all suffering and embrace peace and awaken that divine self within each of us. And what we innately learn to do is how to hold a really sacred space together where God, the universe, the divine can enter, where suffering is transformed into healing, and where we move even closer to who our sacred self is in its expression on a daily basis. So, how does peace come alive when we unite as one? This is such an interesting question to me. Our connection dissolves barriers and it invigorates a space of love and compassion between us, where we can celebrate our differences instead of trying to force each other to be like us,
Hmm.
trying to see each other
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
the same way, like I love you because you're different, not because I want you to be like me, you know? Like when you
Hmm.
can start to see the differences in somebody and get excited about that, that's a real true sign of moving towards a spiritual expression, because we are all so uniquely different. We learn to really stand shoulder to shoulder through light, through dark, through joy, through challenges, and we go stronger as individuals. And because of that, as a collective, we become a much more powerful force. It's true for communities too. So how do we make that global shift toward peace? It starts from ourselves being freed from the cages that are built around us by other people's rules, by judgments, by other people's expectations. When we live in a world from spirit that's wild, basically, that's authentic and free, we're leading by example. And when we do that, we become a catalyst for others. We can ignite their freedom. We can ignite them to live in their own authentic power. So you can see how being on the path is really the first step because it has to start with us, start with ourselves, our own understanding of who we are. Um, when we get it right, when we're on the spiritual journey and we stay on and we do the work, we don't even have to work at it so much after a while. It just becomes the energetic process just happens within us naturally. So as spiritual beings on a human journey, we become a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. And we are in a place where we're trusting in the divine flow of life. I make it sound simple, but it can be a lifelong journey. I mean, even lifetimes. I'm thinking me, lifetimes
Yeah, well, like trusting. I mean,
journey.
that's one thing to say, but trusting is something you have to really work at.
You have to do over and over again.
Yeah.
a lot depending on your karmas and how much, you've been damaged from the past and what you have to let go of and heal and all of those things. It's all part of the journey. You have to figure it out like a big old puzzle piece. So it's really journeying, discovering, and then transforming on that path that takes you to the end results. We learn to really capture the essence of who we are. And that is truly, we are divine, we are powerful, and we are very creative beings. When we know this about ourselves, it's a whole different expression. The beauty of this journey being, in spirit, being in flow, is really celebrating that we are so unique. We all have differences. We all have unique
Mhm.
gifts and purposes, right? We all
Yeah.
have a purpose. Think about that. I mean,
Yeah.
you hear that all the time, but the idea that every individual walking around has a unique purpose
Mhm.
tells you how powerful, this
Mhm.
this creation is. This that God is, that we can have this rich and sacred tapestry within each of us, and that this path, this spiritual process brings us to it and shows it to us, like unfolds it for us. It's really, really, really kind of a miracle, honestly. And when we're honoring each other and ourselves and our planet and all the living beings, that's when we know we're on track. That's how life is meant to be. Think about how boring it would be if we're all the freaking same.
I know. Whew.
Find the joy in all the differences.
Mhm.
So this to me is the essence of what I refer to as feminine freedom. It's a path of being courageous, a path of creativity, without living without fear, living without limitations. We really become like sacred warriors of light, walking a holy path. I love that word. That word is so important to me. A holy path. That's how it feels.
Mhm.
Ourselves first. We create a space for our own spiritual growth first. We honor that sacredness in the world. We honor the people in the world, the animals in the world, all of the creations in the world. This is the sacred space that I'm talking about. So, um, yeah, okay. Well, I hope some of that interests you. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the steps to being in an authentic life, but I hope you can see how exciting it is to explore this idea of a sacred path and really embracing that divine essence and learning
Mhm.
in peace, learning to live with your purpose and the joy that comes from that, together as we're going to awaken the spiritual warrior in all of us, and we'll really step into that truth, that holy and kind of creative, limitless being space.
Yeah. And if you don't know your purpose, just being on this path will help you to find that, I think.
100%. 100%. That's why we're always leading with the conversation of meditate, because
Mhm.
it will unfold for you,
Mhm.
why you're here, who you are. It all kind of comes together, bit by bit, as you're able to understand it and be open and receive it. You start to get the pieces and you're going, oh, that's who I am. This is what I
Mhm.
need to be doing. It really does express itself in a way that you can understand how to follow your path. So, okay, so we're going to explore. I wrote down 3 steps that I think there are, or I've noticed on the journey of, living an authentic life. And so I'm going to talk about those a little bit, each one of those. Number one is releasing suffering. First step. Gotta let go of suffering. If you're suffering,
Who doesn't want to release suffering, right?
yeah, who's that? Well, you know what?
Some people hang on to it, I know.
You're a teacher, you know the answer to that. But you gave me the opening to say, of course, but there are a lot of people that never stop to question it.
Mhm.
I've never stopped to say, do I really have to be like in this
Mhm.
chaos all day long? Is drama
Right.
really part of my life? Does it have to be there? Answer is no. Get rid of it. So we're going to talk a little bit about releasing suffering. Number 2 is taking daily steps towards living in spirit and understanding how the universe works. And we talk about this every time we get on the podcast. There's things that you can do to make yourself be on a daily spiritual journey. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And the third is awaken the divine within and
Mm.
honor your sacred self. And that's really a beautiful end result of everything that we're talking about here. But there's things that you can do to really encourage that and pay attention to it, be aware of it. So number one, releasing suffering. And I'm not going to like belabor the point, but I'm going to talk about just here's the focus. I'm going to give you a focus on what you can focus on, think about, do, and be so that you aren't putting any energy into the drama and the suffering of life. Because who the hell needs it? Unless you're unless you're in a place where you're needing to heal something, I'm not talking about you. There is absolutely time and processes that need to be gone through if you have suffering, if you have somatic pain, if you have, things that are unhealed. There is a process to go through to deal with that. It's not what we're talking about today. So just the idea of always being in like a chaotic mind or having some kind of drama or something going on because it's normal in the world. Well, no, you're creating your world. It doesn't have to be there. It doesn't have to be part of the normal existence. So really the awareness of the path of the divine feminine it's more prevalent really now on the earth
Mhm.
than I've ever seen it before. And I think there's definitely a reason for that. I'm so thrilled that the younger generation is really paying attention to this idea. Women really naturally understand how to create sacred space within their wombs to birth children,
Mhm.
making friends, nurturing community. This all comes very naturally to a woman. This is feminine energy. It makes us different. It makes us divine. Don't ever downplay that. Don't ever let somebody tell you that isn't really stinking important because it is. It's very much who you are. It's it really the patriarchal culture that has confused us about what's important. So, however, we're beginning to understand it. Women are beginning to see how we can survive on our own while still connected to our natural abilities. They're a lot less afraid of being on their own, being independent, knowing that they can take care of themselves financially, emotionally, physically, mentally, all of those things. So what if we just use this new understanding of how to succeed in this culture and joined it with knowing what freedom means to the feminine nature? I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. One of the steps is to let go of victim consciousness
Mm.
and into radical gratitude. Practicing gratitude is essential for spiritual growth. It involves stopping taking life for granted and realizing how much you have to be thankful for. Truly, we all do. You must release the victim consciousness, which often comes with the work of self-healing. Just let it go, let it happen. But for today, let's focus on gratitude. Start keeping a gratitude journal if you don't already. Write down every morning when you wake up 5 things that you're grateful for. Grateful for my breath, grateful for being alive, grateful for having a roof over my head, food in my belly, friends. That's just 5 off the top of your head. Think of all the things that you can be grateful for. Ultimately you're going to feel a deeper connection with life and no doubt a higher power if you do that, if you make gratitude your focus first thing in the day. Your inner wisdom is going to have a chance to join you on the journey and help you keep on the path, and when you fall off it's going to be much easier to get back on when you have this focus. The ego doesn't have quite as good of a hold on you
Mm.
when you keep your focus on gratitude. So let spirit guide you to the places that you probably never even imagined or dreamed of before. You're going to begin to really appreciate the miracle and the fantasy you are and that your life is.
You could change your day if you got up in the morning and you were feeling really funky, and just start thanking, spirit for all the things that you could possibly be grateful for. And everyone has a lot of them in their life.
So
There's a shift very quickly.
you're so right, because you're putting your energy on the right track to attract to you much more positive energy and experiences along the way. So, okay, so now we're on, I think we're on 2 here, daily steps towards spirit. Number 1, slow down.
Hmm.
An excellent place to start is really to slow down enough to pay attention to what is happening within you and around you. Whether you're walking, sitting, running, notice the sensations in your body. How tight are your muscles?
Mhm.
How open does your chest feel?
Mhm.
You aware of your emotions or not? Or they're just sending you one way or another and you don't even know. You're not even aware of it. And your mind is the big deal. Is it quiet? Is it happy? Is it at peace? This
Yeah,
is so important. So
that's
important.
really important. Really
Take
important.
time to slow down, be still.
Mhm.
Spirit communicates with us in many, many ways, and it speaks through our bodies, our hearts, and our minds, but it can't get to us if we're in chaos, if we're in turmoil. Can't get to us. We need to be clear out the clutter, connect with the
Absolutely.
divine wisdom. This is the spiritual life at its best. This at its best. Okay, so I can't go without saying meditate. Meditate is an effective way to quiet your mind. I heard our teacher the other day just talking. Oh, all you got to do is shed the thoughts and feelings. And I'm thinking, so easy for him to say after
Mhm.
all these years. It's like second nature to him. Shed the thoughts and feelings. But that's how it has to be for you. That's how you have to practice your meditation. Just make it second nature to be able to let go of your thoughts and feelings quickly, easily, and just be in this meditative, beautiful state, ready to go higher, ready to move past your mind and emotions. Meditating shows you how to create that space for yourself. It's so important. Make it a priority. Whew. Okay. It's also meditation is how you can train yourself to be open and receptive with the mind and the heart, so you can hear what spirit's trying to tell you, when you're struggling with those questions of, I don't know what to do next. I don't know where to go. I don't, all that stuff. This is how to get to it, be still and listen, and you'll know. Okay, so step number 3, awaken the divine.
Mhm.
The first point I put down was learn how to honor your sacred self and your essence. And I know I've said it before, but this is so important. It's this practice really removes all the focus from awareness of the problem and puts it directly on source, God, whatever you want to call it, allowing the natural
Positive
healing.
energy.
What?
Positive energy.
Absolutely.
Mm.
100%. So, yeah, shine light, hold a sacred space, chant mantras, chant Om, just chant Om 3 times in the morning. We're told we do that in yoga, right? All the time. One of the first things we do, chant Om 3 times in the morning before you walk out the door. It'll change your entire vibration. It'll uplift you and everybody you come in connection with. So why does acknowledging the sacred matter? It's really the next step to that divine connection. It's creating a devotion within yourself so that you can repeat the process and grow in that devotion, grow in that connection, you know? It's really pure and simple work. It's beautiful. Make it daily. Make your life a holy focus on becoming who you are and what you're meant to do in the world. And don't forget to be creative. We are creative human beings, and that expression, that creative expression is really important. And oftentimes it'll save us from the valleys. There's peaks and valleys in the spiritual journey. Sometimes we get low, don't know what to do. Sometimes we feel stuck, don't know what to do, don't have the answer. Find out what feeds your soul and brings that energy back into you. Sometimes people can do it through painting, drawing, cooking, gardening, dancing, photography, whatever it is that turns you on. That can be your switch back into, feeling really, really connected. And sometimes it's just you feel so good, you just want to express creativity. You're feeling moved to be creative. So stay open to all of that. And my last point that I really wanted to make was just building community. And I know that this might feel like it's too much or not important when you're on the spiritual journey sometimes, but I'm so aware at this stage in my life of how important it is to reach out to others and connect, just share with them. Finding that community for yourself that feels like it's supportive and that it's encouraging in your spiritual growth is really, really essential to staying on the path. I have Chris. She's been my support for 40 something years now, 45 years.
We've been each other's support. And,
Yeah.
in yoga, we call it holy company. You know,
Holy company. Oh,
people who
I
are
love it.
spiritually uplifting for you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's really beautiful. Oh, I love that. I'm going to use that term. Okay, so I mean, I know spiritual work often attracts people that are shy or introverts, it's hard for them to reach out. So find a way to do it that kind of maybe pushes you a little bit, but
Mm,
you can manage to do it. Like maybe text somebody and just say something nice or send an
mm.
email thinking
Yeah.
about you, just if you ever want to chat, I'm here, just that kind of thing, just open the door, just your job is just open the door to connecting with other people and sharing that energy, getting it out into the world so that we can connect on a global basis. We can spread peace around the world. So use the internet to find a group of people that you feel like you can trust. You may have to go through a few, you may have to try a few, but there's all kinds of groups out there. Meditation groups, yoga groups, book clubs, break dancing, I don't care, whatever it is. Find your spiritual partners, and hang with them. And they may change over time. Don't worry about that. They grow, they change. Just make sure you're not like sitting on a mountain trying to do this on your own. So, just a summary, many people in the world today right now are really dipping their toe in the spiritual world and finding their lives are becoming much more productive and much more fulfilled because of it. So, why not you? Do it.
What are you waiting for? I mean,
What are
it's
you
the
waiting
first
for?
day of the rest of your life, right?
Exactly. And we're a long way down the road, and we can tell you it's worth it.
It's worth it every minute, every day.
Yeah, that's for sure. Just do it, folks. Thank you for coming. See you next week.
See you soon.
Bye.